how do we choose our perfect color in Colourpuncture at any given moment of time? I chose something very, very simple for today. This is called Zone of Power, and I'm sure if you follow my channel, if you read my blog, then you read about Zone of Power already several times. However, why I chose Zone of Power? First of all, about the location. It's the middle of palm of our hands, left and right. Think of layers. Think of layers if you're an acupuncturist, and if you are a reflexologist, this will be easier for you. Because if you're an acupuncturist, then you know that this location, Zone of Power, is very close to the location of acupuncture point called pericardium 8. The classic location of this point and the modern location of this point is here. So when we treat Zone of Power, which is a bigger zone, we cover both locations for pericardium 8. Pericardium 8 point in acupuncture is a fire point on a fire meridian. Even if you're not familiar with acupuncture, think about it. This is a fire point on the fire meridian. This is why I chose this particular zone, because it's summer, it's July. In the UK at the moment, it does not feel like this is the height of summer, but since it's summer, let's choose this point. It's perfect for balancing the entire fire principle in our life, in our body, in our health, and so on. If you are a reflexologist, you know that this zone, again, middle of the palm, represents in hand reflexology solar plexus. Think of solar plexus. Solar plexus is the center of our being. With that in mind, let's have a look at the colors. So first of all, in Colourpuncture, we have spectral colors, and we have soul spirit colors, and we have gray colors. Within spectral colors, there is a divide, which is assumed but not mentioned very often. So we have yang colors, red, orange, and yellow. They're stronger colors and masculine colors. And we have yin colors, which is blue, violet. Green falls somewhere in between, because green is a mixture of yang color yellow and yin color blue. So it has balancing effect. Zone of Power, classic color for Zone of Power is orange. If you get tired in the morning, if you wake up tired, if you don't want to do anything, if your stomach activity is not great, which is a stomach time in the morning from 7 to 9, this is a perfect color for you. So all you do, you take your orange and you put in the middle of your palm of your hands, left hand and then right hand. I'm doing it very briefly, obviously. If, for whatever reasons, orange color does not feel right, and there could be many reasons for that, keeping in mind what we just talked about, in acupuncture, this is fire point on the fire meridian, and this is the solar plexus. So, for example, if there are spasms in a solar plexus, if there is too much fire, if fire is misbalanced, then we might need complementary color, which is blue. On the same Zone of Power, sometimes you know exactly what you need, sometimes you intuitively feel what you need, but even if you don't, all you do, you just try both. You try orange, which is default color, and then you can try blue, and you see how you feel. The color which feels better, you stick with this color. So, for example, you tried orange, and it didn't quite feel right. You tried blue, it felt right, you stay with blue. At the very end of your treatment of Zone of Power, you can go back to orange and see if it feels different. Very, very often, when you apply complementary colors, the first color, the default color, will feel better after you treat it in complementary color. If you try orange and it feels great, then you stick to orange. So basically, you choose a color which feels better. Also, what you can do, you can use soul spirit color to treat Zone of Power. Zone of Power, if we are talking about acupuncture, pericardium 8. Pericardium 8 point has function of calming the spirit and resolving fatigue. Now think about it. Considering yang state and considering yin state, this is how we choose. If generally you feel that you are tired, you just need some energy, especially in the morning, you know that generally you sort of more on a side of a yang deficiency, chi deficiency, then probably orange will be your color. But again, you try and choose. If you feel you are tired long term, your tiredness is very, very deep, your tiredness because you overworked yourself. Very often this is valid for people who worked a lot in the past and now their body is struggling. So their essence, their tissue, their nourishment, deep nourishing is lacking. So maybe you will need blue. So this is how you choose. And there is another option to treat zone of power, and this is rose color, which is soul spirit color, because again, this is solar plexus. This is the very center of our being. Think about it. This is physical center, and this is spiritual center. This is our inner core. So this is very important zone for this matter. So you can treat it in rose color. I don't have my rose with me because I'm on holidays and I only take my Perlux, flat Perlux, and the oil. This is my kit, which goes with me on holidays, so I don't have rose with me. So you can treat the same zone in rose. It's fantastic when treated in rose crystal ball. Again, left and right. With rose color, you need less exposure. So let's say 30 seconds each zone instead of 1 minute or 2 minutes, which you would normally do with spectral colors. Rose color also simply can be delivered through the rose quartz crystal. Even if you don't do a Colourpuncture, you don't have Perlux kit, you can simply take your rose crystal ball. I'm sure everybody pretty much have or can get easily a crystal ball from the shop. So all you do, you hold your crystal ball in the palm of your hands for as long as you feel needed. What I normally do so from time to time, I work with my zone of power, usually in the morning, because morning isn't really my time. So I mainly need orange. This is my thing. But I did quite a lot of just rose quartz crystals in the morning. So what I do, while I'm still in bed, I take my rose quartz crystal, I'm lying on my left side, I put on my left palm, and I close my eyes and I tune in. Very often I would see an image, I would get an insight, I would get a word or memory or something which will help me in this particular moment of time. And then I turn over and I do the right side, the same with rose crystal ball. And this is how I do it. So I end up with 2 sets of notes for the day. And they're very, very valid because this is something that coming from a very, very deep within yourself. This is not something necessarily which is on your to-do list. It might be, if you're lucky, might not be, because very often it will be something deeper. So the summary. By the way, you can translate soul spirit colors. So for example, if you would like to use rose, but you don't have soul spirit colors, you only have sad. We have very easy translation for soul spirit colors. So instead of turquoise, light turquoise, you can just use yellow. Instead of crimson, you can use red. Instead of light green, you can use green. And instead of rose, again, you can use blue. So see how we came to blue color from 2 totally different sides. Isn't that beautiful? Another option for zone of power, you can do it actually in gray fields. This is something that right in the center with your normal gray fields. Normally this is done on the feet, but you can translate it. This is from Colourpuncture feet reflexology training, but you can easily translate it into hands reflexology. I have several students, beautiful souls who are reflexologists. They prefer, even so they do obviously feet reflexology, they prefer treating themselves and very often some of their clients on the hands. So you can easily translate it on the hands and treat your zone of power in gray. Why would you use gray? You would use gray long after you've tried your spectral colors and your soul spirit colors, because gray is something that we use for chronic conditions, therapy resistance, for very so obscure cases that you don't even know where to start. So grays is your really step number 3 after your spectral and after your soul spirit. How would I choose between blue and rose, for example, when somebody is stressed? Because power can come from power, it can come from a lot of energy, but power can also come from peace and calm and centeredness. And in this case, we would go for blue, which is the color of infinity, or rose, which is color of the spirit. I would say that if situation is so, you're just stressed, there's a lot going on, then this is something that calls for blue. But if something is going on in your life which you find very difficult to cope with, excuse me, not necessarily something dramatic, but this could be something when a situation which you're facing, you don't see the way out of it. You do not see a positive resolution. You don't see any power you can have over the situation at all, any solution. And in this situation, I would use rose. I would use it every day. I would use it long term till you start getting some insights of how you can get your power back, your inner core strengthen, your energy in balance, and then you can revert back to spectral colors. So this is how I would use it for zone of power. Any questions, please let me. Treat your zone of power every day. Try it in summer. Choose your perfect color: classic orange, complementary blue, or rose.